Hey, what's up, Street Talks? It's Eric from the Eric from Street Photography blog. So I wanted to share with you some turbo thoughts on how to become a more productive photographer. So first and foremost, what is productivity in photography? So obviously being a productive photographer is not about answering emails and responding to people's messages, whatever. I would define productive photographer as somebody who just quite literally focuses on making more photos, making new photos to produce more photos. And so I think as a photographer, it's probably better for you to think of yourself as a producer because, even if you think about movies, who's the one with actually the most power? It's actually not necessarily the director. It's generally the publisher, because whoever is the publisher, the producer of the film, is the one who has the most power and therefore could actually flex and have control over the whole process. Now the question is, why is it important for us to be more productive as photographers? Because I think, okay, this is my thought. The more photos you shoot, the more likely you are going to be to make a good photo. And I think also what I discovered in my photography is that I think a lot of us as photographers, we're chasing fame, we're chasing fortune, more followers, likes, recognition, legitimacy, whatever. But actually, it ends up being a trap, because the more successful you become as a photographer, the more you actually become trapped, because people start to expect a certain type of image from you or a certain style of photo from you. And once you start to deviate from people's expectations, people are going to get upset, people are going to stop following you, and this is going to make you feel sad, miserable, and depressed. And I know also this has happened to me, is that often I've thought of myself, label myself a street photographer, which I think is a good thing and a bad thing. The bad thing is that people, they're like, oh, if I shoot something that's not street photography, quote, quote, people are like, what, or, we want the street photography, why are you shooting all this other random stuff? And ultimately it's not other people having control over you. It's essentially you becoming a self-tyrant, and you're not allowing yourself to evolve. You're not allowing yourself to make new images, and you're essentially becoming a caricature of yourself. And what you don't want to be is like, Will Ferrell, where you're only typecasted or to do a certain type of character. If you want to do something that's a little bit different, I think you should have all the creative power to deviate from what you're normally used to doing. And so I think it's also very important as a photographer to be genre agnostic, meaning don't be like, oh, I only shoot portraits, landscapes, blah, blah. Allow yourself to shoot anything and everything. And actually, it's best to probably not define yourself as an individual, to not define yourself as an artist. Sometimes you might want to take photos, sometimes you might want to draw, sometimes you might want to do poetry and so forth. And if you allow yourself to be trapped in other people's expectations of who you are, you're not really going to really have the opportunity to creatively thrive. And I would actually say too is things that get in the way of our personal productivity as photographers and visual artists is that we're trying to make good photographs. Now, I think the notion of making a good photograph is a little bit of a fallacy, because what is a good photo and what's a bad photo? There's no objective measure of what's a good photo or a bad photo. It's all subjective. And generally speaking, it becomes this thing where other people judge us whether our photos are good or not. And even worse, some people use Instagram or other forms of social media as a judge whether a photo's good or not. They'll use the metrics of like how many likes a photo got as how good the photo is. But that's totally silly, because some of the best photos that you think are the most meaningful to you aren't necessarily going to be photos that other people are impressed with. So essentially the moral of the story is use less social media, or even better, if you want to be the maximally most productive photographer possible, I would actually recommend you to delete your Instagram. I know for myself, once I deleted my Instagram about like a year and a half ago, I've been like 1 trillion times more productive as a photographer. I'm shooting more, I'm thinking more, I'm challenging myself more. I'm not letting other people define me as a photographer and a visual artist. I'm just making photos that put a smile on my face, and I'm making more photos that bring me personal joy and help me thrive more as an individual. And I'm starting to care less about other people's expectations of me, other people's judgments of me, and I'm starting to care more about what I think of myself, which is, I think, the ultimate goal. Also, other ways to be more productive as a photographer, I mean, the practical thing is to just shoot more. Simple suggestions, like have a camera that fits in your front pocket. Like I got my trusty Ricoh GR version 2 with Airkim wrist strap Mark II in my front pocket. Or just shoot more with your phone. Generally speaking, I think in photography, the best way to stay productive is use the simplest camera possible. Even this video I'm recording right now, it's on a Lumix LX100. Shout out to my buddy Dave for hooking it up with this camera. And it's, yeah, like you could make good photos on like a $500 digital camera. And also, don't worry so much about, you know, making a perfect photo. Just strive to keep making photos, to keep shooting, and then, you know, you select and you edit your photos afterwards. And I think this is actually one of the benefits I've learned from shooting film photography. You just focus on the shooting part and you don't get so tied up on whether you got a good shot or not because you have no idea. So perhaps even an idea that could help you maybe to switch things up is allow yourself to shoot some film. And this might help you gain a new mindset in photography and personal productivity as an artist. Furthermore, other ways to be more productive as a photographer, I find the most inspiration to make new photos when I actually allow myself to have novelty in my environment. So you don't even have to be somewhere super exotic. Like currently I'm in Little Saigon in the suburbs of LA, Orange County, and I'm just at like a kind of like a random strip mall in the middle of nowhere. And even having this novel environment around me, I'm like looking at these trees and other stuff like that, and I like to go on walks around the block. Or, you know, sometimes going to church or going to a doctor's appointment, whatever it may be. To me, all change of environments are generally good. I like to go to the gym, I like to go to the grocery store, and just generally speaking, just keep your camera with you. And perhaps it's this novelty of new stimuli and new visual experiences which inspires us to make new photos. Also, I think a tip is treat yourself like a kid or a child. Don't take your photography too seriously, because I think a lot of us who try to take our photography too seriously, we just end up overthinking it. We strive for perfection, or we strive to get lots of like clicks, likes, swipes, taps, faves, whatever it may be. And essentially it just ends up being a big waste of time. Another thought is, think to yourself, can you remain productive as a photographer and visual artist until you're 120 years old and you die? If that's the case, you probably don't want to stick to just one style or one technique or one approach for the rest of your life. You want to allow yourself to evolve. You want to allow yourself to be in a state of flux, to change. You don't want to seek to become one ultimate state. Like if I could use a Dragon Ball Z analogy, your goal isn't to just become Super Saiyan, because there's different forms of Super Saiyan. You can become Super Saiyan 1, 2, 3, 4. Your hair could turn gold, yellow, pink, whatever it may be. And I've also discovered this in my photography, is that I'm constantly changing. The photographer I am today isn't the photographer I was yesterday, nor is it going to be the photographer I am tomorrow. And generally speaking, just allow yourself to use any camera, every camera, whatever thing that has a lens on it, just use it. And I think in terms of defining your personal style in photography, that's, I think, 90% curation of your work, about ordering your work, about putting your work into different categories and sets, but that tends to be something else different from the shooting part of photography. So segment your different types of photography, shoot whatever makes you happy, puts a smile on your face, and look at your old photos. I think that I actually find a lot more inspiration to produce more photos and make more photos when I look at my old photos that put a big smile on my face and bring me joy. And when in doubt, just keep shooting it. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. And share your own personal tips, thoughts, your opinions, your own personal tips in how to stay productive in your photography. Leave a comment down below, and let's all continue to keep shooting it together. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Peace out.